What is going on, fellas? It's your boy On The Money MMA back with my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC Fight Night Burns vs. Morales. I apologize for me being so late. I've had a very busy week, but we're here now, and I am determined to give my opinions on these fights. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first fight on the prelims. Tecia Pennington vs. Luana Pinheiro. And I just think Luana has a better jab, man. She's got better wrestling, man. Now I'm gonna go ahead and flip a coin. So I got my coin here. We'll go Tecia Pennington heads and Luana Pinheiro tails. It's tails. So Luana Pinheiro. I'm picking Luana Pinheiro to win this fight because of chance. Chance tells me that Luana Pinheiro will win this fight. So clearly someone's out there favoring her. Luana Pinheiro by decision. Alright, moving up the card to Hyunsung Park takes on Carlos Hernandez. Hyunsung Park, he's a compact guy. He's got a lot of pop. Carlos Hernandez. Honestly, I like Tatsuro Taira, but he's a guy who barely knows how to throw a punch. And when you're getting knocked down and knocked out by Tatsuro Taira, it's not a good sign for me when I'm considering whether or not you're gonna whether or not you are going to be able to take shots from powerful flyweights. So Hyunsung Park is probably who I'm gonna go with in this fight. He's a guy who can get up against the fence and throw explosive combos, and I just don't think Carlos Hernandez is gonna be able to handle it. He's a little bit taller. He's got a little bit more reach, but I mean, he could win this fight. He could win a decision. He's a good fighter. I just think Hyunsung Park is a little bit better at this point, and he's more explosive, and I think he has the tools to get the finish in this fight. So Hyunsung Park, I'll probably take him by first or second round knockout, just because of my worriness for Carlos Hernandez's durability, just based on him getting KO'd. Even though he's good and he's picked up a couple wins in his last couple fights, I think I'll take Hyunsung Park by knockout round one or round two. Moving up the card to Elise Reed versus Denise Gomes. I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't even think I need the coin for this one. I'm gonna be going with Elise Reed. She's just a lot craftier. I think she's got the better jiu-jitsu. No, I'm not going with Elise. What the fuck? All right. Elise Reed, better jiu-jitsu, man. She's got better jab, better. I'm going with Denise Gomes. Denise Gomes looks like she looks like a short Mexican man with a buzz cut, man. A short Brazilian man with a buzz cut. I can't even. Yeah, there's no way Elise Reed wins. She looks like a preschool teacher. So Denise Gomes via knockout. Because, I mean, just take a good look at her, man. Take a good look at her. Luana Santos versus Tainara Lisboa. We're going to head back to the coin for this one, man. We've got Luana Santos is going to be heads. Tainara Lisboa will be tails. Going to go ahead and flip my coin. Tails, Tainara Lisboa. Okay, Tainara Lisboa by decision. All right, moving up the card to the first card on the past the early prelims. We've got Yadier Del Valle versus Connor Matheus. Honestly, I'll probably take Yadier Del Valle here just because I think Connor Matheus was put on earth to get knocked out in the apex by prospects. So I think I'm gonna trust Yadier Del Valle to be the guy who has enough pop to put Connor Matheus away. Even though I don't think he'll make it much further than Connor Matheus in the division. He looks like a guy who's pretty muscular from this picture, man, and he had a decent performance on the Contender Series. So I'll probably go with Yadier Del Valle to knock out Connor Matheus, just because that's Connor Matheus' job to die. His job is to die to prospects in the apex. So yeah, I'll go Yadier Del Valle by first or second round. Third round knockout. There you go. Third round knockout. Alrighty. Moving up the card, we got Jared Gordon taking on Thiago Moises. Thiago Moises is surprisingly 30 years old. I think I saw that in a video. It shocked me, but who am I going to pick in this fight? Thiago Moises, he definitely has some pretty decent fights with decent guys, but he's usually getting his ass beat, and I think I trust Jared Gordon to be a guy who I mean, these are two guys who are considered to be decent competition in the lightweight division. Like, if you get a win over either of these guys, you get some props on the record. Even though it's not very deserved for Thiago Moises, he doesn't really have many good wins. But I think I'll take Jared Gordon just due to his. Oh no, dude, Jared Gordon, he's getting up there in age, man. How long is he gonna be able to? He's definitely a good fighter. He's got good boxing. He's got a crafty wrestling game. But Thiago Moises, I think he might be the younger and more athletic guy in this matchup, dude. Like I said, I think he's only 30. He's taller. Well, no, he's not taller. They're the same height. He has a bit of a longer reach. I think I might actually take Thiago Moises in this fight just due to his I'm going to say his youth, man. His youth, and I think he will have improved. I think he's still improving, even though he's taking a lot of losses. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Thiago Moises. Probably by a lay and pray decision. That's pretty much all the capacity he has to do these days. I don't think he'll knock out Jared Gordon or submit him. So, yeah, I'll take Thiago Moises by a bit of a close decision, probably a split decision. Moving up the card, Matheus Camilo versus Gabe Green. Gabe Green is the guy that got slept by Brian Battle, I think. And Matheus Camilo is the guy who beat the guy on the Australia pay-per-view press conference that went up to Dana White and asked to be in the UFC. So he beat that guy. I'm gonna be honest, I've only seen this guy from the thing Dana White does where he goes and I think it's called Looking For a Fight. So sorry, I keep sniffling, dude. I've got allergies so bad. Matheus Camilo, I'll probably take Matheus Camilo. He's the younger, probably younger, more apt in terms of knocking someone out. I think he'll probably have the power in this fight to knock out Gabe Green. He's a pretty well-rounded technical guy from what I've seen. So I think I'll take Matheus Camilo to either get a TKO and get an early or late TKO. That's the only two options, early or late TKO. So early or late TKO, I'll take Matheus Camilo to beat Gabe Green. I think Matheus Camilo, maybe he's not a guy who rises to the top of. Is this going to be at welterweight? Yeah, welterweight. Yeah, welterweight. Obviously, fought Brian Battle. So I think Matheus Camilo. I don't know how far he'll make it in the welterweight division, but I think he makes it past a guy like Gabe Green just due to Gabe Green's lack of durability and lack of elite anywhere. So I'll take Matheus Camilo via age and skill level. I'll take him by knockout. All right. Moving up to the first fight on the main card, we've got Melquizael Costa versus Julian Erosa. These are two guys who are being very active at the moment. Julian Erosa just got a win over Darren Elkins. Fuck yeah, where Darren Elkins looked like the oldest man who's ever lived, and Melquizael Costa just got a win over C-Rod, where it was a competitive fight and he won on output and won in a really tough fight. And these are two guys who are being very active, like I think I already said. So, who am I gonna pick in this fight? On one hand, Julian Erosa is a guy who is notorious for checking these prospects and catching them in good submissions. But I think, honestly, in this fight, now that I'm thinking more about it, I think Melquizael Costa is going to be a guy who has good jiu-jitsu and isn't going to be caught in these vulnerable guillotine positions. And I just don't think Julian Erosa has the power to put Melquizael Costa out on the feet. If anything, I think Melquizael is going to have the better striking. I think he's going to have the advantage on the feet in this fight and on the ground. So I'm going to take Melquizael Costa just due to, yeah, like I said, I think he's better in the areas that where the fight is going to go. So yeah, Melquizael Costa, I think I'm going to take him by decision. Yeah, I think that'll be... I don't think he's going to finish him on the feet of the ground. I think I'll take Melquizael Costa by decision, who's being extremely active. So hopefully he can win this fight and pick up another few wins and solidify himself as a real prospect in the featherweight division. So yeah, I'll take Melquizael Costa by decision. Even though I think Julian Erosa is good, I think Melquizael Costa is just better at this point in his career. Moving up the card, we've got Dustin Stoltzfus first. Nursulton Ruziboev. Dustin Stoltzfus looking a bit like he's looking like Colonel Sanders in this picture. Nursulton Ruziboev, he's a 6'5" middleweight. Dustin Stoltzfus stands at 6 foot. Nursulton Ruziboev got a great win over Khalil Roundtree's coach, or I think it's Khalil Roundtree's coach. I'm not completely sure. It's one of those guys' coaches, if you know what I mean. Yeah, Nursulton Ruziboev, I think he's pretty good. He had a loss to Joaquin Buckley where he moved down to 170, which was way too small for this guy. And obviously we know how good Joaquin Buckley is now. So I think that was he was competitive with Joaquin Buckley, even being so weight drained down to 170. So Nursulton Ruziboev, I think, even though Dustin Stoltzfus is a guy who can trade in the pocket and land good shots, I think Nursulton Ruziboev is going to be the guy who has more power. I think he's going to have more effortless power, and he's going to have more power in all his shots. Dustin Stoltzfus kind of has to load up. He's a big slugger, bit of a Marc-Andre Barriou, who he knocked out in his last fight. So I think I'll take Nursulton Ruziboev just due to his skill on the feet and his stature. And I think he's pretty good. I think he'll make it a decent ways in this middleweight division, just due to, obviously his stature, man, and he's got good fundamentals, and he's got a lot of power as well. So I think I'll take Nursulton Ruziboev to knock out Dustin Stoltzfus with. I could see a long rangey 1-2, even though he's only got a bit longer reach than Dustin Stoltzfus. It's just the height. It's the part where you're towering over your opponent that's so impactful. So I think I'll take Nursulton Ruziboev. I think he might land a knee up the middle and just take KO Dustin Stoltzfus and get him right out of there. I don't think Dustin Stoltzfus is going to win this fight at all. So Nursulton Ruziboev, I'll take him by a second round KO for Nursulton Ruziboev. Moving up the card, we've got Sodiq Yusuff taking on Mairon Santos. Obviously, Mairon Santos had that really, really extremely close fight with Francis Marshall, and maybe because I picked Mairon Santos in that fight, I didn't think it was that bad of a robbery. It's a bit in the same breath as the fights we had last weekend with Aldo and Ayman Zahabi and Modestas Bukauskas and Ion Kutalaba. I think people they spring so quickly to the robbery accusations that they fail to look at the fight with critical thinking. And honestly, I think you could reasonably give Mairon Santos round 2 and 3 of that Francis Marshall fight. I like that he's staying active, even though this fight is at 155. Maybe that's just because he is being pretty active, and it's hard for him to cut down all the way to 155. Or maybe it's an issue with Sodiq Yusuff. Honestly, I have no idea. Maybe it's because this fight was made on like 4 weeks notice. But Mairon Santos and Sodiq Yusuff is good. I think Mairon Santos' chance in this fight, just due to Sodiq Yusuff's skill set and his ability to land a lot of strikes and get up on the scorecards, I think Mairon Santos is going to have to knock out Sodiq Yusuff in this fight, which is possible. It's not an impossible thing. We saw Diego Lopez do it. Obviously, Diego Lopez is a guy who has a lot of explosive power and is able to get on you and be relentless. I don't think I see Mairon Santos being that guy in this fight. He's a bit smaller than Sodiq Yusuff. I don't think he's enough of a marauder like Diego Lopez to just go forward at all costs and put it on Sodiq Yusuff the way you need to be able to knock him out. So I think I'll take Sodiq Yusuff in this fight just due to Mairon Santos showing of him being a bit of an inactive fighter in the Francis Marshall fight. Like, obviously he KO'd Con Ofley on the Ultimate Fighter, but that was kind of a moment in the fight, and he just caught him kind of out of nowhere. He doesn't throw a lot of output. He didn't throw a lot of output in the Francis Marshall fight. He was getting cracked, but even though I thought he won that fight, it wasn't a fight where he was putting it on Francis Marshall in the way I think you do I think you need to be able, the way I think you do to have to beat the way I think you have to do to beat Sodiq Yusuff. So Sodiq Yusuff, I think he'll be the bigger guy in this fight. I think he's going to let out a lot of output, and I think he'll, even though he got knocked out in this last fight, I think he'll be willing to go forward, and I think he'll win this fight by decision just based on him being the more active fighter and landing a lot of good damage shots on Mairon Santos. Even though I can see Mairon Santos win this fight just catching Sodiq Yusuff, I think I'll take Sodiq Yusuff by decision in this fight. Moving up the card, we got Rodolfo Bellato versus Paul Craig. Obviously, Rodolfo and Bellato in his last fight, he had that war with Jimmy Crute, which I don't think Jimmy Crute is terrible, so I don't think that's a very bad look for Rodolfo Bellato. And it ended up being a draw, like the last fight says. So Rodolfo Bellato is pretty good. Paul Craig, he got outstruck by Bo Nickel. We know that's not a good look now, but he's moving up to 205. So I'd like to see how Paul Craig implements his game against slower, plottier guys at 205. I think Rodolfo Bellato is just too much of a blockhead. I think he might just knock Paul Craig out. Something I've noticed with Paul Craig, I don't know why, but he's gotten so much leaner like he was already lean in the beginning of his career, but he's gotten so much leaner as he's gotten older, dude. Like he's peeled in this picture. But regardless, I think Rodolfo Bellato is going to be the more imposing force in this fight. He's bigger, he's got more power, and I think he'll KO Paul Craig just due to, I mean, it's Paul Craig, man. He was good. He was good at one point, but he's really fallen off. And I'm sorry to all my Scottish guys who may be watching this fight, like Lyle. But Rodolfo Bellato, yeah, I think he's going to be the more imposing force in this fight. And even if it goes all 3 rounds, I see him being the guy who's going to win this fight. But I'll probably take him by second or third round KO. I think he might get Paul Craig out of there. So yeah, Rodolfo Bellato by second or third round TKO. Moving up the card, we've got a pretty good fight. I like this fight. Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales. My thing with Michael Morales is that he's good, right? He's a good fighter, but when I watch Michael Morales, I don't see him having this X Factor speed or X Factor power or X Factor striking, even though he is a really, really good fighter. Like he knows what he's doing in there. He's not like especially fast, or he just seems a bit, and I don't think plotty will be the right word. He's definitely a creative striker like we saw in the Neil Magny fight, but he's a little bit, I almost can't put my tongue on it, dude. He's kind of slow, and he's definitely a good striker. He's got good boxing, but I'm not as high on this guy as a lot of people are. He's definitely a good fighter, and he might have the tools to beat a 38-year-old Gilbert Burns in this fight, but even if he wins, I don't think he make it much further past a guy like Gilbert Burns. And on the topic of Gilbert Burns, I don't think he's as bad or as washed as people are spelling him out to be. He got beat by a guy who obviously we know who is really good in Sean Brady. He looked pretty gun shy and reactive in the Sean Brady fight, but I think maybe that was a result of him being knocked out in the Jack Della Maddalena fight. Maybe he was a little gun shy due to that, even though Sean Brady doesn't have much power, but he was landing good shots on Sean Brady, even if he was losing pretty much every round. So Gilbert Burns, I think he's a guy who is still good. I just don't know if the age is going to be too much for him to beat a guy like Michael Morales, because honestly, I think a guy like Gilbert Burns in his prime, Masvidal years, or near the Usman fight, I think I would confidently take him over Michael Morales, just because I don't think Michael Morales is a guy who's extremely superb in any area. But the way I've gotten the vibes from this fight week, I know Gilbert Burns he's looking good, he's looking shredded. I just think Michael Morales might be the guy who is going to come up and knock him out, even if I don't think he's very extraordinary in any certain area. So man, I'm having a hard time picking this fight because I think Gilbert Burns is still good, and I don't want to see him lose. But Michael Morales is a guy who's taller. He's got a significantly longer reach, 8 inches. He might just be able to keep Gilbert Burns on the outside. But what I will say is I can see Gilbert Burns winning this fight. I'm probably going to pick Michael Morales, but I'm not going to be surprised if Gilbert Burns wins, just due to Gilbert Burns' skill in the wrestling. I think Michael Morales might have the capacity to take out a guy like Neil Magny, but not quite a guy like Gilbert Burns, just due to Gilbert Burns is being the more physically imposing guy than someone like Neil Magny. And I Michael Morales KO over Neil Magny was cool, but I like you. I don't know. Neil Magny's a pretty sticky guy. He's able to get up in the clinch and stuff. He did it to protest too, but Michael Morales, he's not extraordinary to me. I really want to pick Gilbert Burns. Because he's a huge underdog in this fight. While we're on the topic of this fight, obviously he's a huge underdog. I didn't like that when it came up in the Figgy Sandhagen fight, which I thought was more of a closer fight, but I think they just have this line due to the last performances of Gilbert Burns and the performance of Michael Morales. But I honestly can really see an outcome of this fight where Gilbert Burns is able to land big shots one at a time, like he sometimes did in the Jack Della Maddalena fight. He caught him with that big elbow. Gilbert Burns, man, I can see. I'm just having so much trouble picking this fight because I've been like this the whole time, because I think about it, but then I just start the video and I make my decisions then. Gilbert Burns, man, he's good, and he did show up a lot later to this fight. I think he might be a lot more determined in this fight than he was in other fights. Fuck, man, is his chin gone? I don't think his chin's gone, man. I don't think it's gone. Where have we seen in the example of his chin being gone? Michael Morales, man, he's got the youth. He's looked pretty decent. I think he's got all the momentum going his way, but Gilbert Burns is still good. He's still a good fighter, and he's still someone who is very crafty, and he knows how to impose his will onto his opponents. So I might be swayed by this underdog pick here. Like, obviously, if I was betting, I wouldn't bet on Michael Morales. I might go with Gilbert Burns here, and I could be completely terribly wrong, and Michael Morales could knock him out in the first round, but I just think Gilbert Burns still has some of it, man, and I think he might still have enough of it to get it done against Michael Morales, even though Michael Morales is the guy who's a lot younger and clearly the more spry and athletic guy at this point in his career, who has impressive wins, like I was watching Guru's video and he brought it to my attention, and I had to go back and rewatch the Jake Matthews fight with this guy, and he did beat Jake Matthews, and he made Jake Matthews look a little subpar. A guy in Jake Matthews is a guy who looks impressive against other fighters, and Michael Morales is a guy who has shown his ability to beat people pillar to post. In that sense, in the sense of him winning a dominant decision. I really want to pick Gilbert Burns, man. I think I'm going to pick Gilbert Burns, man. I'm going to pick Gilbert Burns. I could be completely wrong, but he's a guy who does have submission threat. He's a guy who does have power on the feet, and he's a guy who can control you on the ground. Obviously, I'm not quite sure at this moment how Michael Morales' jiu-jitsu and his grappling game is going to compare to Gilbert Burns. I just really want to pick Gilbert Burns, and I think I am. I'm going to pick Gilbert Burns by decision in this fight. I think he still has some of it, man. Yeah, so Gilbert Burns by decision. I really appreciate you guys for watching. I'm sorry I'm so late. This will probably air around the time the card starts. I've had a really busy week. I've had a lot of things I had to do, but I will say, honestly, it is in part due to me just being a little bit lazy and procrastinating, so yeah, Gilbert Burns, I think he'll win. This will be honestly, this isn't a bad card. The only downside is it's in the Apex. I think this is a really good fight, man. I think it'll be a really competitive fight. I think we'll get a cool knockout here. I think we'll get a good fight here. I think this will be a cool knockout. This will be a decent fight. I could see it just being controlled on the ground, though. Matheus Camilo, he'll probably knock out Gabe Green. That'll be pretty cool. Jared Gordon versus Thiago Moises. I'm excited to see how these two match up. I think it'll be a pretty decent fight. Yadier Del Valle is pretty mid. Connor Matthews is shit, so I think we'll see Yadier Del Valle get a finish, even though I don't think he's very good. Luana Santos versus Tainara Lisboa. Obviously, we hit the coin flip. We got Tainara Lisboa. Denise Gomes, I mean, just take a good look at her. Hyunsung Park, Carlos Hernandez, that'll be a pretty good fight. I just don't know if I'm going to show up and I don't know if I'm going to show up and watch this fight, skip this fight, watch this fight, and then skip these two, because the TV might just be on, but I just don't want to watch these fights, man. They're going to be shit, so I might show up for this one and watch it, but it's kind of an inconvenience. I think the UFC, they know what they're doing, man. They have to, I don't know why they want to make us watch these, but they put like a decent fight in the middle of 3 women's fights. Like, do you really want me to watch these fights that bad? I'm not gonna. I'm telling you that I'm not gonna, because I really don't care about the outcome one bit. But yeah, Hyunsung Park, this will be a good fight. I think we'll get a finish from Hyunsung Park, and obviously we had Luana Pinheiro winning because she won the coin toss. So yeah, pretty good card. I appreciate you. Fuck, man. I can't speak. I need to stop doing these moments where I take a big break and speaking after I mess up. But regardless, yeah, pretty good fight night. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.